Welcome to St. John's Environmental Health and Safety's OSHA's HazComm GHS training. My name is Hector Hernandez. I'm a project manager intern here at EH&S, and I'm also an environmental studies senior at St. John's College. I'm here to assist you on exactly what it is that employees need to know for this new GHS training. Today's session objectives include: what is GHS? Why is HazComm important? How do we interpret the new information on these chemical labels that are being implemented through GHS? How do we understand the new pictograms? And last, how do you understand the new safety data sheets that are being implemented and phased in to replace the MSDSs? The hazard communication plan is there in order to provide hazard information about the chemicals used in the workplace and to ensure the health and safety of university members. According to the Hazardous Communication Standard, employers must provide you with a written hazardous communication program, which can also be Googleable, a list of hazardous chemicals, which you could also get through your supervisor, safety data sheets, you can also Google them, labels on containers, which are being implemented through the new program, and the training. What is GHS? GHS stands for Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals. It is being implemented through Hazardous Communication Plan, and it provides a universal approach to the understanding of information and their hazards around the world. We live in a chemically abundant world. Chemicals are around us every day. In many cases, chemicals you may deal with at work are no more dangerous than those you have at home. However, in the workplace, exposure may be greater in higher concentrations and with longer exposure time. Therefore, potential may be greater on the job. Here's a collage of pictures that I've taken of chemicals in the university. As you can see, some of these chemicals are no different than those that we have in our homes. Sometimes we may discard these chemicals and think of them as not that hazardous. However, you may not know that unless you read the SDSs. Some of these chemicals, they could be explosive, corrosive, and you just quite don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next few slides. Through GHS, there are new container labels that are going to be implemented. They're supposed to be easy to read and quick to understand. All containers must be labeled, even the portable ones, and you must be adept in understanding how exactly to identify the pictograms and any type of precautions that are associated with the chemicals just from reading the label. These new chemical labels have a basic format. To start with, we have the product identifier, which is the name of the chemical, whether it be acetone or Clorox. Underneath that, we have the supplier identification, which is the manufacturer's address, perhaps a phone number for them. Underneath that, we have the precautionary statements, which are important statements that give you an idea what to do with the chemical, how to store it, what not to do, what type of protective equipment to wear, etc. Next, we have the hazard pictograms, which we will get into in the next slides. Underneath that, we have the signal words. Under the GHS program, there are two signal words. They're danger and warning. Danger being of a high hazard, and warning being of a low hazard. Underneath that, we have the hazard statements, which are statements in bold letters that are very important to note about the chemical. And last, supplemental information, which may be extra information like directions for use, a fill date, and even expiration date. Another important component of GHS are the new pictograms that are being implemented. These are easy to understand illustrations that give us a quick idea of exactly what type of hazards are posed by the chemicals at hand. To start with, we have the health hazard pictogram. This is a body and an imploding star. It's there to identify any type of health hazards or physical hazards that may affect the human body. Next, we have the flame pictogram. Pretty self-explanatory. It means that chemical has flammable properties. Next, we have the exclamation mark. This pictogram signifies that the chemical may be an irritant. It has narcotic effects. It could irritate a respiratory tract. And it's hazardous to the ozone layer. Underneath that, we have the exploding bomb. This chemical could be explosive, be self-reactive with another chemical. On the left, we have the corrosion pictogram. This pictogram has two test tubes, one dripping to the left on top of a metal, and the next dripping on a hand, which signifies that that chemical has corrosive properties to either metal or our bodies. Next, we have the gas cylinder pictogram. In the workplace, you never want to see a gas cylinder on its side. Signifies that gases are under pressure when this pictogram is on the label. Underneath that, we have the flame over circle. Similar to the flame, except it has a circle in the middle. I like to look at the circle as the O in oxidizers. Oxidizers are chemicals that fuel fires through its oxygen content. Next, we have the environmental pictogram, which is limited to aquatic toxicity. As you can see, the pictogram has a fish upside down in a black body of water. This means that if the chemical were to be released accidentally into a body of water, it could cause great harm to the organisms living within that body of water. And last, we have the skull and crossbones, which signifies if ingested in any way, it could cause acute toxicity in a fatal or very toxic manner. The next very important aspect of GHS is the safety data sheets, which are replacing the MSDSs. MSDSs, as you may know, stand for Material Safety Data Sheets. Now, they've shaved the M off and it's going to be strictly safety data sheets. These new safety data sheets are being phased in. The whole program is not going to take into effect until June 1st, 2015. However, manufacturers are updating their MSDSs and replacing them with the SDS throughout the phase of the program implementation. The SDSs must be readily available to you. A thing to note is SDSs are Googleable. If you want to know anything about a chemical, the first thing you want to do is search for the SDS. All you have to do is go on Google, put the name of the product and the manufacturer, and the SDS will pop up. Just keep in mind that you may get an MSDS, which is quite similar. SDSs must be readily available to you through your supervisor. However, here at EH&S, we do have SDSs on file and available for your disposal. SDSs describe risks, precautions, and remedies. They give you a detailed written description of hazards related to a chemical. And it is best practice to read a SDS before working with any hazardous material. Key points to note are the SDSs will replace MSDS, and they do have a 16-section format. I want to go through the first 8 very quickly to give you an understanding of what an SDS looks like. Section 1, we have the chemical and supplier information. What chemical is it? What's the name of the chemical? Where was it manufactured? What type of telephone numbers are involved in case you need to contact anybody, perhaps for an emergency. Section 2, hazards identification. These identifications are very important to note, as they have different categories and they're similar to the pictograms. Section 3 are information on the composition of ingredients. Some chemicals have more than one chemical in them, and here's where you get all the information on what other chemicals are within that product. Section 4, first aid measures. Section 5, firefighting measures. Section 6, what to do in case of accidental releases. Section 7, proper handling and storage of that chemical. And Section 8, proper exposure controls and personal protective equipment. In different work environments, perhaps in construction, you may need a hard hat. I know most people taking this course, they simply just need basic eye and face protection, hand protection, like latex gloves. The best way to know that is to refer to your SDS. It will tell you what is the best practice, what is the best method in order to protect yourself from hazards of the chemicals that you're working with. In case of an emergency, if you happen to get a chemical in your eyes, it's best practice to flush with water for 15 minutes. Be familiar with any eye wash stations within your workplace. If you get it on your skin, wash with soap and water. Remove the contaminated clothing as possible. If you inhale a chemical vapor perhaps, move to fresh air as soon as possible. And if you swallow, get emergency medical assistance as soon as possible. When on campus, dial extension 5252. It's best practice to dial directly to public safety as they will assist the emergency medical assistant vehicle or ambulance to your exact location on campus. Instead of dialing 911 and having the ambulance try to figure out or guess where you might be. As we draw to a conclusion, I want to bring up a couple of key points to remember about GHS. As we mentioned, GHS is a new revision to OSHA's Hazardous Communication Plan, and it provides a standard, or rather universal approach to safety and health information around the globe. Through GHS, there are new pictograms, new container labels, and SDSs, which will all provide vital information in an easy to understand format. When handling these chemicals, ensure you know what type of personal protective equipment to use in order to reduce hazards. Now, on behalf of EH&S, I want to thank you for taking this course. If you need to contact us with any questions, anything regarding the workplace and hazard chemicals, please contact us at the following numbers and emails. Thank you again, and I hope you have a very amazing day.